It's the penultimate home game for Highland women's basketball as they get set to host the Carl Sandburg Chargers here at Larry F. Kill Gymnasium. We welcome you into Freeport. I'm Adam Oppenheim. Well, the visitors from Galesburg, Illinois, the Carl Sandburg Chargers, are 17-8 on the season, 9-5 in Region 4 play under head coach Kellen Fernetti. In his fourth year with the Chargers, technically his third season because they did not play during the COVID year. Let's get you the starters for the visiting Chargers. A sophomore guard from Katy, Texas, number 10, Tierra Hall. A sophomore forward from Galesburg, Illinois, number 11, Antonia Kisler. A freshman forward from Iowa, number 12, Cameron Atterberg. A freshman forward from Avon, Illinois, number 15, Haley Redding. And a sophomore guard from Peoria Heights, Illinois, number 22, Janessa Wallace, who has started after Lillian Covarrubias had a season-ending knee injury. She only played 2 games this season, so Wallace has stepped up big time. Highland also has had a slew of injuries. They've had a lot of players step up. They're currently on a 3-game winning streak, which is their second longest of the year. They had a 4-game win streak back in mid-November. Highland is 11-12, 9-10 in Region 4 play. And let's get you the starters for the Highland Cougars. A freshman guard from Auckland, New Zealand, number 0, Manaya Watson. A freshman forward from Las Palmas, Spain, number 13, Amada Del Rio Ramirez. A freshman guard from Newark, Illinois, number 20, Addison Ness. A sophomore forward from Ashton, Illinois, number 23, Brie Gonerman. And a sophomore guard from Madrid, Spain, number 44, Pilar Bernad Ortega. The head man is Joshua Glaw in his second season with the Cougars. It's Ness and Atterberg in the center circle. The tip is won by Carl Sandburg, and we're underway here in Freeport. Redding fires a quick right wing 3. It's short, and Del Rio Ramirez has the rebound. Haley Redding absolutely crushed Highland back in January in a 90-60 win at home. She had 23 points and 5 threes. Turnover on the first possession as Kisler intercepts the pass from Gonerman. They cycle it around the perimeter and back off to the top. Now all the way over to the left corner where a shot is put up and switched through by Antonia Kisler. 3-0, 45 seconds in. Kisler, the top scorer for the Chargers in back-to-back seasons. She's at 16.3 points per game after 15.5 in her freshman campaign. Watson wide open underneath. It's Del Rio Ramirez. And that was an easy shot right at the basket. 3-2 as that ball is tossed away and out of play. Turnover for the Chargers. In that 90-60 win earlier this season, the Chargers won the first quarter 31-15 and then just continued to add on. Bernad Ortega breaks the pressure. That was a game where the Chargers shot 11 for 34 from 3 and Highland was 1 for 14. Bernad Ortega on the right side. Inside, Del Rio Ramirez couldn't finish. Rebound, caroms out to Ness. Feeds it inside, Gonerman. The jumper is off the mark. Del Rio Ramirez a third chance. And now a fourth as Ness has the ball poked away. And Ness was on the baseline as she chased after it towards the corner. This Carl Sandburg team is extremely undersized. Cameron Atterberg is their tallest player at 6'1", and they turn it over on back-to-back possessions. Just trying to get inside the zone defense. Hall couldn't handle it. Del Rio Ramirez right down the lane to the rim for 2 more. Early timeout. Kellen Fernetti And with 8:02 remaining in the first quarter, Highland leads 4-3. After the 30-second timeout, Carl Sandburg will have the ball. And talking to Kellen Fernetti during the week and also before the game, he said, we have to control the pace of the game. We have a size disadvantage. And so far, Highland is flying up and down the court and playing their 2-3 zone. Landis off the bench is short on the right wing. 3 rebound inside is by the Chargers. Nice catch by Kisler as it almost went out of bounds in the corner. The pass inside is deflected, but regathered by Hall, who lost the ball. Last touch Hall, it was deflected by Ness inside. Another turnover for Carl Sandburg. Full court pressure by the Chargers. Bernat Ortega breaks it up the floor. Watson in the corner, will hold. They left her alone. Drills the 3. Mania Watson has been on a tear. 7 threes in the last 2 games. Mid-range jumper. Clangs off the back of the iron for Redding, but then it's thrown away on the rebound. And Del Rio Ramirez fouls Redding. Highland took the rebound, tried to push it up the floor. It was intercepted by Carl Sandburg and ends in 2 free throws for Redding, who went streaking down the right side of the lane. Haley Redding is good on the first. Going back to Mania Watson. 19 points in the win over Blackhawk on Tuesday, 50-49. Not only the 19 was a career high, but she had 4 threes, which was also a career high. 7-5, 3 minutes in. Bernat Ortega cutting towards the rim, and it last touches the Spain native. So the ball will go to the Chargers. Highland really emphasizing cutting without the ball against an aggressive Carl Sandburg team. Skip pass. Hall fakes the 3 in the paint. The floater's up. It's no good. Rebound inside. And the finish by Adderberg. Even though this Chargers team is undersized, they're first in rebounding margin in the region. 19 and a half a game. Watson, that was a tough catch inside. It hits off her foot. She collects in the corner. And then it's deflected out. Will stay with Highland. 6:29 left in the first. Tied at 7. Legea Angel comes in for Carl Sandburg. And Olivia Kleinfelter in for Highland. And right off the inbounds pass, she gets fouled. Going up. So Kleinfelter will shoot 2. It was a really nice pass by Del Rio Ramirez, who was about lined up with the 3-point line and tossed it inside of the block. Kleinfelter good on the first, but can't cash in the second. 8-7 Cougars, 6:20 left in the first. Angel will hand to Haley Redding, the freshman who has just had an excellent season. 14.1 a game. She has it now, top of the key. Kisler, straight on 3, is good. So Antonia Kisler has 2 threes to begin. Watson, off the screen from Del Rio Ramirez. Kleinfelter, the cutting Bernat Ortega from the baseline. Her floater is way too strong and taken by Angel. Redding, deep 3. Left it on the front rim. Offensive rebound, Angel. Second opportunity for the Chargers. Hall fakes it. Gives to Angel. who will now reset. Under 10 on the shot clock. Redding inside. Atterberg is fouled. Spinning to her left shoulder. And the right-hand shot wouldn't go, but she'll get 2 at the line. Atterberg misses the first foul shot. Kellen Fernetti has really liked Cameron Atterberg's season. After starting off a little slow as a freshman, she has picked it up. She missed the second free throw, but got the ball back. On an offensive rebound, another chance, left wing 3. Redding, an air ball. That just did not have the trajectory. It was a line drive shot that really had no chance of going in. Tofolowski will check in for Watson. And Anna Landis will come in for the Chargers. Del Rio Ramirez, deep floater, it's short. That was about a 16-foot running floater. It last touched Carl Sandburg. So we'll stay with Highland. Cougars trail 10-8 past the midway point of quarter number 1. Del Rio Ramirez catches the inbound. Inside of Kleinfelter, was intercepted by Tierra Hall. Tierra Hall down the lane, stops, floats, and scores. She got the steal and went coast to coast for 2, and a 4-point lead for Carl Sandburg. Del Rio Ramirez flips it to the right side to Bernat Ortega. Tofolowski try to drop it inside, finds its way to Bernat Ortega in traffic, and Bernat Ortega banks it in. Kisler on the drive, got fouled, and it just rolls off the rim. And Antonia Kisler will shoot 2 at the line. Hall out for Carl Sandburg. Ty Steele comes in. And Ana Flavia Chagas in for the Cougars. Del Rio Ramirez takes a seat. First foul shot is good by Antonia Kisler. Coming off 10 points and the win over Kishwaukee College on Tuesday. Second free throw's no good. Another offensive rebound. Atterberg inside, up and under. Off the window. Second time Cameron Atterberg has received an offensive rebound after a missed free throw. Tofolowski misses a point-blank layup on the other end. Bernat Ortega pokes it away, stays in the possession of Steele. Kisler will call out a play with 10 on the shot clock at the top. Kisler, deep, right wing 3. Short, offensive rebound. And a whistle. I believe it was just deflected out by Highland. It was indeed. So Carl Sandburg will inbound on the baseline. Extra feed, Landis off the side of the iron on a triple try. Kleinfelter, the rebound. Highland down 5, 3:20 remains in the first. Tofolowski traveled before she was able to get rid of the ball to Addison Ness. Tofolowski out, Gonnerman in. Chargers ball leading by 5 on the road, where they are 8-5 this year away from home. Handoff to Redding. Steele inside, leaves it off. It's the cutter, Atterberg. for 2 more. 7-point lead for Carl Sandburg. Kellen Fernetti in a defensive stance on the sideline, and he helps his team force a turnover. But then it was poked away by Ness. And then it pinballs around at midcourt and ends up with Carl Sandburg. Steele gets it away. Kisler, straight on 3. It's nylon. Timeout, Highlands. It's a 3-point barrage by the Chargers. And they are doubling up Highland 20-10 with 2:25 remaining in the first period. Welcome back to Larry F. Keough Gymnasium. It's been a struggle for Highland doing the keys, or executing rather, the keys they had going into this game. The 3 that Joshua Glaw laid out. As rebounding the ball, they've struggled grabbing the defensive rebounds, keeping the Chargers out of transition and limiting the threes. Already 3 triples for the Chargers. Highland gets the ball out of the timeout. Watson has it. Left wing 3. She launches. It's off the side of the iron, but last touched by the Chargers. Highland has had plenty of opportunities on the offensive end. Just haven't been able to cash in so far. Watson at the top, being tightly guarded by Kisler. Watson down the lane, flips it up with the left hand. No offensive rebound. Kleinfelter, it just hit the backboard. But then Watson the strip, and then she draws the foul. The foul goes against Steele. Second team foul against the Chargers. So Highland has a chance for a 4 shot on this possession. As Tierra Hall comes back in for Carl Sandburg. And for Highland, Del Rio Ramirez comes back in. Brenna Ortega inbounds to Ness. In the corner, was trying to feed Gonnerman. It was not open. Bounces up the floor. Landis, right inside. Hall back outside. Good ball movement by the Chargers. On the right arc, back to the top. Now in the near corner. Corner shooter. It's good. Anna Landis off some spectacular ball movement where the Chargers rotated in and outside the paint numerous times. It's a 13-point lead for Carl Sandburg. And Watson lost the ball. On the other end, was looking for help, and the ball goes back over to the Chargers. Kellen Fernetti yelling at his team to move the ball and then guard on the defensive end, and it's worked so far. Splitting 2, Hall, the floater is short. It will stay with Carl Sandburg. Dominique Lego comes in for Brie Gonnerman. And Lejea Angel in for Atterberg. Riley Clark gets her first minutes. Comes in for Kisler. 58.3 to go in the first. 23-10. The visitors from Carl Sandburg. Bernat Ortega picked up her dribble but gives to Ness. Now Watson, who is being heavily pressured. Bernat Ortega drives baseline. Mid-range jumper is short. Del Rio Ramirez has the rebound. And the deuce inside. Quickly down at the other end. The layup bounces off for Clark. Not great transition defense by the Cougars, but they get away with it. Ness drives into the paint and got hit Addison Ness will shoot 2 with 21.6 remaining in the first quarter. Ness was just left alone off the missed shot at the other end. She took advantage, but misses the first free throw. Addison Ness has been another one of these players that have really stepped up for Highland. She makes the second free throw. 6 out of the past 7 games in double figures. And off a double deflection, off an outlet pass, it last touches Landis. That was a 30 or 40-foot pass. It's a turnover. Highland should have the last possession of the first quarter. 10 seconds, Cougars down 10. Del Rio Ramirez finds the cutter, Lego, banks it in with 2 seconds to play from half court. Too strong for Wallace. And that will end the first period of play. 23-15, Carl Sandburg leads Highland. You're listening or watching Highland women's basketball. Welcome back to Larry F. Kale Gymnasium. Start of the second quarter. Highland begins with the ball. Going left to right. Bernat Ortega is trapped. Watson touches it. Just barely misses the sideline. Only 12 left on the shot clock. Del Rio Ramirez down the lane. Backs in. Feeds it inside to Ness. And she's tied up inside by Wallace. Possession arrow gives it back to Carl Sandburg. Wallace hands it off to Redding, who cycles around the top and now feeds it inside, right behind the block. The jumper is off the mark from Kisler. It's Redding, Kisler, Hall, Wallace, and Atterberg on the court for Carl Sandburg. Del Rio Ramirez crosses over. The cutter, Bernat Ortega, nearly lost the ball. It cycles back out for a Watson right wing 3. Weak side board, Bernat Ortega. Del Rio Ramirez tees it up. Air ball. Lego blocked from behind. Hall down the lane, splits 2 with the left. It just rolls off. Spectacular move in traffic, but couldn't score. 23-15 Chargers, 90 seconds into the second quarter. Ball is poked out of bounds, stays with Highland. Cougars have Lego, Bernat Ortega, Watson, Del Rio Ramirez, and Ness on the floor. Inbound to Bernat Ortega. Trying to loft it inside Del Rio Ramirez. It was deflected by Kisler and taken away. Hall feeds Redding. Three-pointer is short. Offensive rebound by Atterberg. She couldn't stick it back in. Lego way up the floor. Stops. Bounces off. Ness. Inside. She was fouled. Couple of golden opportunities in transition for the Cougars. But Ness will have 2 coming at the line. Abby Ackers comes in for Carl Sandburg, as Ness is now 1 for 3 from the line after she misses the first foul shot. Second free throw is good. 23-16, Chargers. 8:10 left in the half. Feed inside to Hall. Extra pass by Ackers, was looking for Wallace in the left corner. Pass was off the mark. Turnover, Carl Sandburg. And Kellen Fernetti has been clapping on the sidelines pretty much the entire game, trying to fire his team up. Del Rio Ramirez directs traffic. Watson fires it inside of Ness. Timeout, Chargers. After the easy 2 by Addison Ness, a nice cut towards the rim, and easily finishes with her left hand. 5-point game, 23-18 Highland. Or rather, Carl Sandburg. Well, this is something Joshua Glaw talked about before the game. He wanted Highland a cut with an aggressive defense like Carl Sandburg. They saw in the first meeting, if you don't move without the ball, it's going to be pretty hard to score on them. That was also a game where Highland turned the ball over 31 times. That is above their season average of 24 turnovers a game. Redding off the bounce. It was deflected and taken away. Bernat Ortega up the floor. Ness to her left hand. She scores again. 3-point game. 7:20 to go in the half. Kisler leaves off for Redding. Now on the left wing, Hall launches. Clangs off front iron. Bernat Ortega chases down the rebound. Running in transition. Ness inside, feed to Lego. She got it back. Bernat Ortega. Back to Watson on the right side. Looking to play one-on-one with Redding. Was stripped, and at last touch Watson. Antonia Kisler. Strong side help. Knocks it off of the leg of Mania Watson. Kisler fakes the bounce inside. Redding all net on a right wing triple. Del Rio Ramirez wasn't looking for the ball, but she somehow regathers it. Tosses inside to Ness. To her left hand again. This time, she could not finish through contact. Another three-pointer in the air. Kisler hits back iron, rebound, and score inside for Atterberg. Backdoor cut, Ness got hammered on her way to the hoop off another cut by the Cougars. Wallace in for Angel for Carl Sandburg. Watson comes out for Highland. Gonnerman checks in, and Kleinfelter in for Lego. Edison Ness 2 for 4 from the line. In and out on the first. Cougars leaving points at the foul line. So far 3 of 7, and now 4 of 8. They still trail 28-21, under 6 to play in the first half. Wallace finds Redding. Wallace back to Redding on the left side, passes inside, the floater hits the back of the iron from Hall, out of bounds, goes to Highland. And a steal. 2 more for Tierra Hall. That was a steal at half court. And it's 30-21. Del Rio Ramirez down the lane, splits 3 Chargers and scores off the window. Hall quickly gets it up the floor. Into the paint, Redding goes, throws up a wild shot. Donnerman snatches it. Del Rio Ramirez finds Bernat Ortega on another cut. A diagonal cut from the left wing to the left block. And from the top of the key, it was a beautiful dime by Del Rio Ramirez. Highland trails by 5 against Carl Sandburg. 30-25, 4:58 remains in the first half. Back after the 30-second timeout here in Freeport, Larry F. Kale Gymnasium. Past the midway point of the second quarter. All back out to the top. A fake on a 3 and an elbow jumper is short by Kisler. And as Atterberg tried to get the rebound. She was jumping on the baseline. Back to Highland. 4:40 in the first half. Gonnerman to Del Rio Ramirez. Thought about the 3, now launches in and out. Tipped up. But Wallace was this time was on the end line. Highland gets another try. Ness triggers the inbounds. Ness tried to bounce it to Kleinfelter. It was deflected out. Highland will try to inbound again. Angel in for Wallace for Carl Sandburg. Gonnerman inbounds it to Chagas. Del Rio Ramirez, feet inside Kleinfelter. On the block, spins to her left hand, came up shy. Carl Sandburg has the rebound and looks to run. Ness, aggressive defense on Kisler. She spins away. Gets it to Landis. And now Hall drives through 3, had it poked away. Chagas on the deck. She's tied up by Landis. Great hustle by Ana Flavia Chagas. And the possession arrow favors Highland with 4:04 to go in the second quarter. It's a Carl Sandburg team that goes extremely deep. In fact, they played 13 players in their game on Tuesday, which is all of their available players. Kleinfelter on the block, had it poked away. Back to Del Rio Ramirez on the perimeter. The cutter, Chagas makes the catch, got fouled. It was in the act of shooting. So Ana Flavia Chagas will shoot 2. It was a cut from the baseline, and it was tossed up for Chagas, who made a really difficult catch and then just flung it at the rim. Smart play, and the sophomore from Brazil will get 2 shots. The first one is in and out. Joshua Gloss shaking his head. A lot of missed free throws for Highland. They trail by 5. Chagas is good on the second. 30-26. Carl Sandburg Highland staying in the fight. Bullet feet inside, back outside. Angel. Side of the rim. Kleinfelter the rebound. Del Rio Ramirez had Chagas ahead of everyone, but was already nearing the baseline. The pass was to be made. Gonnerman got hit on the arm as she was streaking down the left side of the lane. Brie Gonnerman will shoot 2 foul shots. 2 subs in for Carl Sandburg. Redding and Wallace come in. Gonnerman is perfect on the first foul shot. 30-27, 3:11 to go in the half. And the second is also good. 30-28. Kisler will hand to Hall. Tierra Hall bounces to the corner. Redding fakes, now goes to her right side for Hall. All nylon on a triple. 5th first half trifecta by the Chargers. They lead 33-28. 2:40 to go in the half. Gonnerman scans the floor to Kleinfelter. Del Rio Ramirez, right wing 3. Can't answer. Battle for the board. It's secured by the Chargers. Redding gathers down the lane. Couldn't bank it in. Offensive rebound by Atterberg. And she was fouled. Bernard Ortega in for Ness. Atterberg, back iron on the first. The tallest player on this Carl Sandburg team by 3 inches. She's 6'1". Haley Redding is next closest at 5'10". Atterberg hits the second. She leads all scorers with 9 points. Her team has a 6-point lead. 2:10 to go in the half. Kleinfelter out top. Her pass was deflected. Looking for Gonnerman inside. Turnover, Highland. Off the turnover. Hall inside. Kisler to her right hand. Couldn't bank it in. She got it back. The floater short. And got it back a second time. Another opportunity for the Chargers. Shot clock's at 12. Kisler has it out top. Kisler crosses over. She lost the ball. Picks it up. It was deflected. No backcourt violation. 3 on the shot clock. A foul against Chagas. It's only the second team foul against Highland, but the shot clock was running low for one of the first times tonight for Carl Sandburg. Inbound pass goes to Redding. Finds a shooter in the corner. It's Wallace. Sticks the 3. Wallace doesn't shoot a lot, but she has the ability to shoot from the outside. Chagas way off on a mid-range jumper in the paint. And then Bernard Ortega intercepts the pass. As the Chargers were quickly trying to go the other way, they turned it over in midcourt. Gonnerman bounces. Kleinfelter inside. Last hit her foot. Turnover, Highland. Carl Sandburg has a 37-28 lead. With under a minute to play. Another 3 ball is down from the left wing. It's Ty Steele. She has her second triple of the first half, shooting 42% on the year from distance. Kleinfelter, the answer, no good from the foul line. And Redding was ready to catch and give it to Hall on the fast break. but she traveled because Bernat Ortega got back and played good transition defense. 30 seconds to play, about a 4-second difference. Shot and game clock. Highland trails 40-28. Del Rio Ramirez gives to Gonnerman from the corner. Yes! Bree Gonnerman, a rare hit from downtown. Just her third three-pointer of the season. It's 40-31. 10 seconds to go in the half. The handoff to Steele. She holds, feeds inside, Atterberg, cutter. It's Hall, she scores to end the first half of play. As time was ticking down, Atterberg to Hall on the backdoor cut. And the Chargers have a double-digit lead heading into the halftime locker room. 42-31, Carl Sandburg leads Highland. We'll be back for the second half after this break. Welcome back to Larry F. Kale Gymnasium in Freeport, Illinois. Second to last home game for Highland women's basketball. They trail Carl Sandburg 42-31. Chargers will start with the same five they began the game with: Hall, Kisler, Atterberg, Redding, and Wallace. Highland rolls out Bernat Ortega, Gonnerman, Del Rio Ramirez, Watson, and Ness. She's also the same five for Highland. 42-31. Chargers start with the ball, going left to right. Wallace fakes on a corner three, pitches it back out to the top. Pass inside is deflected and stolen. It was intended for Kisler inside the restricted arc. Chargers won the first quarter 23-15, the second 19-16. Del Rio Ramirez gives to Gonnerman, who pops out. Watson on the right arc. 10 on the shot clock. Being guarded by Kisler. Puts it down the ground, and now will regather at half court with three. Watson drives inside with two with the left hand. Short. Not a good possession for Highland. Wallace back the other way. Redding, right wing three. Way off the mark. Rebound inside by Atterberg. She turns, fires, left it short. Battle for the loose ball. Pops out to Kisler from the foul line. She drills it. Kisler, Hall, and Atterberg are tied for the lead in scoring for both teams. They each have 9. Gonnerman. Watson on the left side against Kisler. Looks inside of Bernat Ortega. Couldn't quite bank it in. It was a difficult angle on the baseline. Redding up the floor. Atterberg got fouled by Gonnerman. It was a quick pass from the left side into the post. And Atterberg will shoot 2 free throws. Quick sub for Highlands. Del Rio Ramirez out, Kleinfelter in. Atterberg was 1 for 2 from the foul line in the first half. She hits on the first. First player into double figures, Cameron Atterberg. Averages 7.8 a game, but she has been dominant. Not only scoring, but on the glass. She hits both. 46-31 Chargers. Minute 40 into the third quarter. Kleinfelter will hand to Bernat Ortega. Sets a screen. It was blocked by Hall. As the three-point shot was going up by Bernat Ortega. Quickly up the floor, and the lay-in is banked in by Haley Redding. The lead is 17 for the Chargers. Timeout, Joshua Glaw. His team trails 48-31. 8:02 to go in the third quarter. It was already a steep hill to climb for Highland. But out of the halftime break, 6-0. Chargers in the first 2 minutes. Gonnerman gives up to Kleinfelter. A lot of work on the perimeter by the Cougars. Lego pops out. She was open for 3, didn't release it. Now here's Ness. Drives down the lane, the floater. Hits the back of the iron. And then a jump ball as Wallace was tied up underneath. Possession error will keep it with Highland. 7:41 in the third quarter, down by 17. Gonnerman catches the inbounds pass. Drives inside, finds Ness. Long two-point jumper. Well short. Rebound by Redding. Wallace will race it up the floor. Gives to Redding. Quickly doubled. Kisler in the lane. Just missed it. She was right there at the cup. Just couldn't finish. Gonnerman looks up to scan the floor. Now Kleinfelter on the right arc. Ness pops out. Three-pointer in the air. Three-pointer down. Big shot for Addison Ness. Just the third triple Highland has hit today. Compared to 8 for Carl Sandburg. This could be another one. Wallace, short, on the corner three-pointer, but then she poked it away from Kleinfelter and scores. She missed the shot, went after her own rebound. Kleinfelter thought she was all alone and just had it poked away. 50-34 Chargers. Kleinfelter to Bernat Ortega. Offensive foul. A moving screen against Kleinfelter. Second against Kleinfelter and second team foul. 50-34, Carl Sandburg. 6:15 to go in the third period. Highland trying to keep it close. Wallace, right wing three. Way short. Rebound, Angel inside at, stripped and taken away by Bernat Ortega. Rives it off the floor. It's intercepted by Atterberg. Kisler steps into a 3-2 strong. Angel has another rebound. This time, she couldn't stick it in as it swirled around and went off. Backdoor cut Ness. Stops and hits inside as Wallace went down on two knees and is going to be checked on, I believe, by the training staff. Wallace is going to try to walk it off. And she will. She'll go to the bench. Take a seat. And Ty Steele will come in for Wallace. Steele has it now. Right-hand pass to Hall. Hall attacks across the free throw line. Steele, left side three. Way short. An air ball. Gonnerman was trapped, and a foul was called after she snatched the rebound. Hall out. Anna Landis will come in. And Alexia Garrido comes in for the first time for Highland for Kleinfelter. Garrido started the last game on Tuesday against Blackhawk. Did not score. But was coming off a career high last week against Wilbur Wright. So the pass was deflected out of bounds, stays with Highland. Point of emphasis in the halftime locker room by Kellen Fernetti not to get backdoor cut, and so far they've done a good job. Gonnerman on the block, fade away, way too strong. Angel, extra feed, wide open left wing. Redding's too strong, offensive rebound by Atterberg, and she was fouled going up. Atterberg was no good on the first, but she's all net on the second. Highland trails by 15, 4:40 to go in the third quarter. Lego into the paint, is going to bounce, dangerous pass, finds its way to Bernal Ortega. Now Garrido gives back to Bernal Ortega. Gonnerin with 12 on the shot clock. Ness spins around and scores the basket and the foul. Good job working in the post by Addison Ness. It was a half spin baseline to her left hand, and she'll also shoot one at the line. 15 for Addison Ness. She converts the free throw. Now 7 out of the past 8 games in double figures for Ness. 51-39. Right wing three. It's nothing but the bottom for Kisler. That was off of one pass after crossing half court. Chagas on the drive with Highland down 54-39. 4 to play in the third quarter. Bernal Ortega drives, finally has some room, and scores on a push shot. Timeout Highland. Bernal Ortega has 6 points. 54-41, Carl Sandburg. 30-second timeout for the Cougars. Addison Ness has just been spectacular. The second half, second semester of the season. It's now been in double figures 10 times. Had a couple early in the season, but now they are just coming constantly. Was a player that had to keep up with playing for the volleyball team as well. And as the season has progressed, she's been ingrained more and more in the system. And has really been a spectacular two-sport athlete. She now guards Kisler as we're back underway. Angel off a fake, tried a deep floater, and was fouled. That was a shot that Highland is certainly willing to give up, but Angel was fouled by Chagas. Hall and Redding back in for the Chargers. Carl Sandburg just comes at you in waves. And they've done that here tonight. That bricks off the back rim for Angel. 54-41, it stays. 3:42 reigns in the third quarter. In and out on the second. Garrido has the rebounds. Fortunate break for Highland. Chagas drives the baseline. Had it partially deflected. She got it back, couldn't score. Loose on the deck. Jump ball. There's a possibility of a foul as well, but the possession error will give it to Carl Sandburg. Angel comes out. Janessa Wallace back in. Wallace wasn't likely to be the lead ball handler, but after Covarrubias went down second game of the season with a season-ending knee injury, she has stepped up into a big role. Redding from the left corner. It's good on another triple. 9 3-pointers by the Chargers. They had 11 in the meeting earlier this year. Bernal Ortega can't answer. Back iron. Gonnerman fighting for the rebound. Kisler comes out of the pack with the ball. 57-41. Carl Sandburg looking to put this game to bed early. Hall playing off 2. Redding can't hit this time. Chagas had it ripped away. Atterberg rifles a pass inside, looking for Redding. It was off target. Goes to the Cougars. Gonneran bounces to Ness. Wallace over, pursues it. Good help defense. Ness was blocked. She got it back, couldn't finish. Tipped up and then taken by Atterberg. Atterberg had it deflected. Garrido has it. He gets rid of the ball to Gonnerman, and Highland will get possession right back. Bernard Ortega to Chagas. Steps back. Long two. Side of the rim and off. Nice rebound by Atterberg inside. Wallace quickly up the floor. Kisler rips inside. Redding the catch, and she was fouled. Beautiful bullet feed from Antonia Kisler. 15th foul for Highland. Garrido comes out for Del Rio Ramirez. Back rim twice and bounces off for Redding. 57-41, the lead for Carl Sandburg. 1:52 left in the third quarter. Second is all net. Watson back in for Chagas. Mania Watson just one triple. That came early on in the first quarter. Bernard Ortega to the top. A moving screen called against Del Rio Ramirez. That's her third. Abby Ackers comes in for Kisler. 58-41 lead for the Chargers. Landis in the corner, had it deflected out by Highland. Inbound, Landis is open. Left wing three's in, out. Atterberg the rebound, floats it up, and gets the soft roll. Offensive rebounds have hurt Highland from the jump. Del Rio Ramirez up top against Atterberg. Gets rid of it to Bernard Ortega. Back to Del Rio Ramirez, fakes a three, drives inside with the left, she scores. 60-43, Chargers. 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. Wallace feeds inside of Atterberg, tipped out by Del Rio Ramirez. Highland's had some comebacks this season, most recently against Truman College on January 27th. But this Carl Sandburg team is extremely tough. As a takeaway, Bernard Ortega up the floor to Ness. Had it poked from behind by Tierra Hall, but a foul was called. Not a bad foul. As Highland will inbound on the baseline. Would have been an easy two for Nass. Gonnerman gets the inbounds pass, back to Bernard Ortega. Watson off the pump fake and drive. Dips it inside to Del Rio Ramirez, who was fouled. She'll shoot two. Nice drive and dish by Mania Watson. Bernard Ortega has been closed out well from three, even with their shooting. At least their percentages shooting dipping lower the past couple games. Carl Sandburg is still trying to run her off the three-point line. Bernard Ortega, or rather Del Rio Ramirez goes 1 for 2 at the line. And then Landis tripped, fell down, out of bounds. As Carl Sandburg was trying to quickly push it up the court. Helped up by Bernardo Ortega. 15 seconds to play in the third quarter. 60-44 Carl Sandburg. Watson off a Gunnerman screen, banks it in from the mid-range. Not an easy shot right in front of the three-point line. 2 seconds in the corner. Kisler from half court is off the mark, but the Chargers had an 11-point lead at halftime. They now have a 14-point lead heading into the final period. Chargers lead the Cougars 60-46. We'll be back with the fourth quarter of play here from Larry F. Kill Gymnasium. Back for the fourth quarter of play here in Freeport, Illinois. Carl Sandburg leads 60-46. Highland currently has a 3-game winning streak, their longest since November. Highland starts with the ball. Watson outside, Del Rio Ramirez, a three. Hits the heel. Outside of Watson, second opportunity for Highland. Watson drives, contact was made, no whistle. Redding has it, gives it back to Angel, drives down the lane, the floater on the fly short. Ness the rebound, and she'll take it into the front court. Addison Ness, 15 points, leads the Cougars in scoring. They still trail by 14. Watson crosses over, steps back for three, back iron. And Atterberg collides with Kisler, but she has the rebound. Kellen Fernetti calls out the play call on the sideline. 43. Angel with 10 on the shot clock. Dumps inside of Atterberg, was looking for a cutting Redding. It was deflected, and Ness last touched the ball as it goes out of bounds. I don't think there was a change of possession. The shot clock's at 30, now reset to 20. That was a good defensive possession by Highland. The shot clock was at 6 or 7. Angel gives to Steele. Cross-court feed, one more to the corner. Shot is off the mark, short by Redding. Ness comes out of the pack with the ball, and she was fouled from behind. Bernard Ortega takes it across the timeline, and now Watson has it. The free throw line, dumps it inside, looking for Del Rio Ramirez. It was deflected out. And then Del Rio Ramirez boxes out Atterberg as it stays with Highland. 60-46, 8:18 to go. Del Rio Ramirez tried to look for Ness inside. Pass was picked off by Steele. Up the floor to Redding. Dumps inside Kisler, stops, and it rolls off. She was right at the rim. Highland still in the ball game. Del Rio Ramirez gives to Ness. Ness at the top, now tries to drive inside and was walled up. And Steele forces the travel against Addison Ness. Del Rio Ramirez to the bench. Kleinfelter in for Highland. Cougars trail 60-46. 7:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Kisler, one more pass to the corner. Steal. Back of the rim, and Gonnerman snatches the rebound up high. But now she's trapped in the corner. Gets it away to Bernat Ortega. Fast break opportunity. Up the floor. Watson bounces. Kleinfelter can't finish. Ness has the rebound. Had it deflected to Watson, who couldn't finish. And then had stripped. Timeout, Carl Sandburg. A frantic sequence. Kellen Frenetti's team ends up with the ball. He screams timeout. And his team leads 60-46. Highland misses 3 times point blank at the bucket. And they trail by 14. 7:21 to go in the fourth quarter. Chargers ball after the timeout. This game is probably getting a little closer than Kellen Frenetti would want. This team was on the verge of blowing this game open, but the lead is 14. Redding was walled up, but Watson called for the foul. Not on the block up top, that was clean, but it was on the push down low. So Haley Redding will take a pair of free throws. She hits on the first. Redding is also perfect on the second. Redding has 13, Atterberg has 14, Kisler has 12, and the Chargers lead the Cougars 62-46. Coming up on 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Bernat Ortega's doubled. Watson three. Yes! Off a double team, and Watson's able to step in and drill a left corner three. And then a turnover, as Wallace was looking way up the floor from just in front of half court. Found Redding, but the pass was too high. 62-49, 6:45 to go. Watson has 8. She has 2 of the 4 Highland triples. Now she picked up her dribble, holds on to her pivot foot to get to Gonnerman. On the block, Brie Gonnerman inside. Kleinfelter could not finish after she knocked over Atterberg, but it was last touched by Carl Sandburg. The shot clock should be reset as it hit the rim. It was short, but definitely hit the iron. It was 8 on the shot clock. And they reset it to 20. Inbounds goes to Kleinfelter on the block. Spins to her right hand, but could not finish. Golden opportunity for the Cougars. Corner three-point shot swishes through for Redding. A missed layup leads to an open three for the Chargers. And they've now hit 11 threes, matching what they did against the Cougars earlier this season. Gonnerman up top will hand to Watson. Steps into a right side three, way off the mark. Ness try to chase after the rebound, but was on the end line. 65-49 lead, 5:54 rather to go in the fourth quarter. Reading, deep left wing three. That's way off the mark, but Angel has the weak side board. Kisler went through her hands, she collects. 10 on the shot clock. Play calls 42, Angel. Went to Hall. Now they cycle it around to Reading. Angel, shot clock running low, short. On a right arc, three-point attempt. Watson will quickly find a lane. She gathers it in after she lost possession on the baseline. Back up top, Del Rio Ramirez fakes a three. Moved her pivot foot. Travel, Highland. 5 to go in the fourth. Lego in for Watson. Carl Sandburg came in as the second best team in terms of at least total rebounds in the region. Fourth in three-pointers made and second in threes attempted. And both those things, they have dominated Highland. Way off the mark by Kisler, but Reading able to catch the air ball from the three-point shot and get fouled. Two shots coming for Reading. Hits on the first foul shot. 17 for Haley Reading. In and out on the second. 17-point lead for the Chargers. Now past the midway point of the fourth quarter. Bernard Ortega fakes a three. The floater just left it on the front rim. Battle for the ball, tie up. Possession error favors Carl Sandburg. Angel will take it across the timeline. Gives to Hall. Euro steps in the paint. Try to just toss it up with the left hand. It was partially deflected. I think that was going to be a shot attempt. It was a difficult one at that. Carl Sandburg retains possession. Inbound goes to Hall. She'll drive against Ness into the paint. Tries with the left hand this time. Just hits the backboard. Gonnerman races out with the rebound. 4:10 to go. 66-49. Carl Sandburg. Gonnerman gives to Bernard Ortega. Tries to drive the baseline, but was cut off. Gonnerman kicked the ball to Atterberg. Couldn't pick it up. Del Rio Ramirez inside. Lego. Could not score. Ness has the rebound. Bernard Ortega from the left wing. The three-pointer is short as the shot clock was expiring. Reading, open left wing three. In and out. Great look. Ness got rid of the pass, but was fouled on the follow-through. Bernard Ortega was wide open at the other end. Wallace in for Hall. Only the second team foul against the Chargers. So Highland will inbound from the sideline. Lego, right to left cross, spins in the paint. Couldn't bank it in, she got it back. Could not finish. Highland has missed a lot of shots at the rim. Gonnerman tips the pass up the floor, but it still ends up with Reading, who slides in for two more. Ness off the backdoor cut. Double teamed and taken away from behind by Wallace, who leads Atterberg up the floor. Against Del Rio Ramirez, could not finish. Gonnerman fires a pass too far for Bernard Ortega. It was flying up the right side. Another Highland turnover, 68-49. Ness, Del Rio Ramirez come to the bench. Garrido and Chagas back in. And Carl Sandburg looking to make a slew of subs next dead ball. Scoop shot wouldn't go for Atterberg. Connerman gets it to Bernat Ortega, who crosses half court. Connerman hands to Lego, who stops, gives to Chagas. Bernat Ortega underhands it to Chagas. Pass was deflected out of bounds. And now 5 subs coming in for Carl Sandburg. Entire hockey line shift. Ackers in, Steele, Clark. Cameron Anderson for the first time has a shot clock violation on Highland. 68-47. Carl Sandburg. Highland is going to have their 3-game winning streak snapped. 2:17 to play. Riley Clark also on the floor. That's the 5th that I did not mention for the Chargers. Steele on the drive, a little bit too strong. Chagas races with the rebound. Now Bernat Ortega flies down at the other end. The layup spins off. Too many missed shots at the cup. Joshua Glaw talked about they need to convert layups because they can just end up in buckets on the other end. Clark stepped out of bounds. She was driving the baseline. Ness in for Bernat Ortega. 2 in double figures for Highland in terms of scoring. 3 for the Chargers. Nearly 4. Tierra Hall had 9 points. 19-point lead for the Chargers. Chagas down the lane. The floater way off the mark. And an offensive foul. Ty Steele picks it up as the Carl Sandburg bench erupts. 3rd team foul for Highland. 1:40 to play, 68-49. Deep 3 for Huffman. Short. Paige Huffman, her first action. Even all these players who don't always get a ton of minutes for the Chargers have played in almost every game this season. Kellen Fernetti finds time to try to get as many players in as possible, especially in a game that's a 19-point lead. As Garrido flips it up with the left hand. That was way off the mark. Kellen Fernetti still calling out plays. Seems like a lot of the play calls have to do with numbers. Huffman, left wing 3, nails it! So Paige Huffman's into the book. She nails a triple. That's a 12th triple for the Chargers. 71-49. This has turned into a rout here in Freeport. Really competitive for the first 2.5 quarters as Lego turns it over. And then the Chargers just started nailing threes, and Highland was not able to force turnovers in their half-court offense, which hasn't been a strength all year, just has not been able to keep up. Clark had the ball go through her hands at the half-court line, and then Ness steals the ball down at the other end. Ness gets fouled. The basket does count, and one. Well, Addison Ness is not going to stop playing. We know that. 20.5 seconds to go. Addison Ness has 17. Ness now has 18. Steele is going to hand off to Ackers off the side of the rim with 8 seconds to play. Stays with the Chargers. They lead 71-52. 8.2 to go. Up top for Huffman. It was intercepted by Ness. And then a foul called. That's only the 14th foul. Ness will take it across half court. Gives it to Gunnerman. Try to bounce to Lego. It found its way to Lego. But couldn't get the shot off in time, and that's going to close out the penultimate home game for Highland women's basketball as they fall to Carl Sandburg 71-52. Impressive game for the Chargers. They won the first half by 11, and they end up winning the game by 19, 71-52. Kellen Fernetti picks up his 75th win of his Chargers head coaching career. Carl Sandburg improves to 18-8, 10-5 in Region 4 play. Highland's 3-game winning streak is snapped. They are now 11-13, 9-11 in Region 4 play. Addison Ness led the way for the Cougars with 18. Del Rio Ramirez had 11. Mania Watson had 8. But it was too much three-point shooting by Carl Sandburg as they hit 12 threes. Haley Redding had 19. Cameron Attenberg had 14. Antonia Kisler had 12. Tierra Hall had 9. Impressive effort all around by the Chargers, as once again, they now move to 10 games over 500. They've won 2 games in a row. Well, not a whole lot more games left in the basketball season for the men's or women's team. The women's team plays at Trident on Saturday, and that's followed by 2 more road games before they're back at home against Illinois Valley Community College. February the 17th, last home game for Highland women's basketball, and then they finish at Malcolm X College and at Kennedy King College. But for the men's team, they've been off for already 5 days at this point. They play at Sauk Valley on February the 10th, and they're back at home against Kankakee Community College. So the next game we'll bring to you is February 14th. That's 9 days from now. The men's team also faces Southeastern Community College on February the 18th, and they close out with 3 games on the road. So not a whole lot more games here in Larry F. Keough Gymnasium. We'd love to see you here in Freeport if you can make it out for the final women's basketball game or the final 2 men's games. Again, women's game is on February the 17th, men's games on the 14th and the 18th of February. Well, that's going to do it here from Larry F. Keough Gymnasium. Again, the final score, the Carl Sandburg Chargers 71, the Highland Cougars 52. That's all from Larry F. Keough Gymnasium in Freeport, Illinois. I'm Adam Oppenheim saying so long from Freeport.